The officer heard retching from the phone. He leaned over to try and make out what the foreman was saying. Every word he was saying came out garbled. The officer could feel every pulsing second, every sound intensified. He could even hear his heart beating.
I couldn't hear that. Can you repeat?
There's something down here with me!
The officer's blood went cold as he heard those words echo through his mind over and over again to register what the foreman meant.
What do you mean something's down there?
There's a friggin' monster! I saw Doug, one of the workers. He's dead. Something ate him!
Eaten? Like chewed?
No, not chewed. He's empty. Something ate everything inside of him. There was his tentacle. It was swinging him around like a friggin' puppet.
They said nothing for a moment. The silence was deafening.
He talked to me.
The call was starting to become erratic, filled with static.
Are you there? Did you say he could talk to you? Come in!
I'm here. I don't know what to say. Tell me I'm crazy. Say that this is some sick prank. Tell me that none of this is real and that I'm just sleeping.
Listen, City Hall told us to...
Screw them! I'm talking to you. Get me out, please!
Calm down. It'll be okay.
Have you been listening to anything that I've been saying? I'm standing next to one of my co-workers, Doug. He's a nice guy, 3 kids, a wife, likes the Giants, and I bust his balls for it. Only Doug is now a pile of fucking skin and bones right next to me. I see his empty goddamn smile stretched like a goddamn puppet suit. You want me to calm down too fucking bad?
We'll get you out of this. I'll get you out of this.
Don't give me that bullshit. I'm on my own. Just tell me straight off, how fucked am I?
No, I'm here with you. I promise. Just keep moving.
As the static fades and the voices fill the speakers, the road you're traveling, the room you're sitting in, it'll start to twist and turn, becoming something beyond ordinary, something beyond this world. Join us as we travel beyond the stars, deep underground, or in the innermost depths of the human mind. You just tuned into the Radioverse.
The foreman looked at the radio, now dead, nothing coming through. No lifeline, no help, just him, the darkness, and a crazy monster that uses people like puppets. He screamed, raising the radio, about to throw it against the wall.
Oh, fuck!
He screamed until his voice went hoarse, coughing out. Banging against the wall with his fist, he collapsed against the side, whimpering, the lights flashing on what's left of Doug. After a moment of panicking, he started to get his breath under control. He turned and got up, looking down the path. The only way down, following the waterway down, toward where that tentacle went. the hallway led down towards a series of corridors, away from the open passageway, where the sound of the waterfall still rhythmically beat against the pool of water. He held the wrench out and put the radio back on his belt. The light started to weave, bobbing up and down, and he started to slowly walk down the tunnel. The path started to decline, leading him towards a maze of rooms. The waterway started to twist and turn throughout a series of these rooms. He had to trust the water was going somewhere back to the surface or to the ocean. Anything is better than this. The only thing that mattered was the direct path he had to stick to. He didn't pay attention to the sounds or what lay beyond the darkness.
Don't get distracted. Keep moving. 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 Don't get distracted. Keep moving.
He heard them chant from beyond the edge of his vision, from beyond the light's reach. He knew they were around, calling to him. He could even feel them brush against him.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up!
He screamed, running now, feeling his grip loosen on the hammer as the sweat ran down his hand.
This isn't happening!
He looked up to see a large antechamber. His coworkers, his friends, suspended above him, all looking down at him. Those glowing red eyes piercing his soul. They bobbed, the heads rolled. The effect caused the foreman to back up.
What are you? What the fuck are you?
Where do you think you're going?
A tentacle flew at him, empty, with something on the edge. A circular maw, teeth jutting out, closing and opening, again and again. The saliva dripped onto the floor as he sat up, looking directly into the mouth. He swung the hammer, striking it across the mouth. There was a scream deeper in, towards the river.
Screw this!
He got up and ran. He felt hands grab at his back. He swung the hammer wildly until it flew out of his hand. The foreman made a break for it.
Shit! Shit! Shit!
The echoing of the taunting voices filled every corner that he turned, slowly increasing in volume until he couldn't hear the rush of the water. Collapsing into a corner, he cried, rocking back and forth, holding his knees. The sounds drawing closer.
Greg.
He could hear the bodies dragging against the wall and the floor. He turned out the light, lying in darkness, hoping they wouldn't see him. Those red eyes seemed to disappear for a moment. Did they pass? Was he safe? He held the radio close, whispering into it.
I can't do it. There are too many of these damn things. Don't come down here. If you can hear me, don't come down.
Greg?
They're coming.
Found you.
He turned his light on to see a disfigured face looking down at him. With a grin that stretched impossibly long, his scream echoed over the radio, followed by silence.
Are you there? Hello? Hello? I need a crew! This is an emergency!
He stood up, commanding the room. Everyone inside the precinct watched him, not moving, until he slammed his hand on his desk.
I'm not asking!
They broke into a hustle, phone calls being made, the rushing of the workers getting off their asses and starting to get to work. He saw the intern from earlier. She held another cell phone out.
What the hell do you think you're doing? I told you to stand down.
I'm not ordering anyone. This is strictly a volunteer business. There's no law preventing a search.
And I just gave you a direct order.
Damn you, and damn your orders. You know something about this mess. You're condemning an innocent man to die! What the fuck is down there?
You have your orders.
What the hell is he talking about?
This conversation is over.
He's going to die. Don't you care? Where's your decency?
He's already dead.
The phone line ended. He went to throw the phone again, but the intern snatched it from his hand. He sat down, running his fingers through his hair, picking up the same phone, turning on the channel. It turned on. He heard a raspy voice call back in return.
Don't come.
What's your status?
I found out what's down here.
What is it?
Something very hungry.
I'm sorry.
The officer could feel himself choke up, barely able to utter out those words.
Don't be. I won't be going alone.
Found you, Greg.
There was a chorus of voices on the other end of the line.
I'll leave the radio on.
Who's down there with you? Greg? Greg!
You really don't want to know.
The officer sat in his chair on the edge of his seat. The foreman was dragged by two of his co-workers during their best impersonation of walking that they could manage. All it did was leave a sick feeling in the foreman's gut. He looked up and saw the creature, trapped in a structure, a pillar that held up the cave, or the tunnels, depending on how closely you looked at the walls. A giant body, or head, green and black, with 10 eyes looking around. He noticed at the time that all the tentacles had eyes. Behind the jaws, the body, or head, was trapped with the pillar, almost fused to it. The impossibly long tentacles all started to retract with the bodies.
So why did you bring me here? Yeah, I don't do blind dates for a reason.
He laughed maniacally, giving up all pretense of escape and survival, trying to ignore how badly his knees shook and that slime that started to cover his body.
Unless the tentacles don't eat.
The monstrosity opened, rows of teeth glinting off the reflection of the foreman's headlamp. His two captors spoke in unison.
Don't resist. It'll be easier that way.
Slowly being dragged closer to that thing, the foreman squirmed.
I hope I give you heartburn. I've been a heavy smoker since I was 15. Let me go. You'll do us both a favor, I promise you.
Their grip only tightened as he moved to escape. The foreman hung his head in defeat.
So, this is the end. Eat that goddamn monster.
He felt the exhaustion of the struggle, but that changed when he looked up, recognizing who was pulling him.
I'll be goddamned. I see you still have my lighter, you bastard. Always too cheap to buy your own.
Features of the creature started becoming more vivid the closer he was dragged. He could smell the putrefying breath that emanated from the mouth of the body, or head. of this creature.
Stop resisting. Don't resist.
Yeah, you'd like that if I was an obedient Neil. Screw you!
He was thrown to his knees before the open mouth. A thin tongue started to emerge, wrapping itself around the foreman's waist.
Do I taste good?
The light showed how far and infinite the mouth was, like it opened to a new dimension.
Stop resisting.
A voice sounded in his head. It was beautiful, like a march of the angels.
Hey, you really think I'm stupid? A little light show and pretty voice and I'll just say, come eat me?
The foreman jumped back, the tongue pulling on him, but it didn't pull hard enough. He grabbed one of the bodies, his fingers searching the pockets, until he was yanked back to his knees. He was holding the lighter, laughing like a madman.
Choke on this, asshole.
The foreman lit the dynamite on his belt and yanked the tongue with his free hand. The barbs on it cut into his palms, but he only grinned. The creature screamed, crashing, pulling as he picked up the dynamite in his hand. With a toss, the tongue finally let go, the mouth shut. He stumbled back, tripping over a rock, watching the creature rock, swaying, screaming, tentacles flying wildly, shaking the foundation of the entire chasm. The bodies fell, one by one, collapsing into heaps onto the floor, no support to give them shape. The dynamite exploded. The creature swelled up and painted the room in an iridescent color. The tentacles flying off, hitting the walls, broke the pillar as the cave started to collapse. The foreman sat up and lit a cigarette. With a deep inhale, he breathed out a plume of smoke, watching the tunnel starting to collapse in on itself slowly.
Cleared up that infestation I was talking about. The son of a bitch is dead.
He raised the radio to his lips, unable to suppress a grin.
What did you say?
The officer held the phone to his ear, his hand shaking.
I killed the damn thing. I'll take a check. Thank you.
What did you kill?
I'm gonna say this with the expertise of a foreman. I have no goddamned idea.
The officer laughed for a moment, caught up in the excitement, until he heard something beyond the phone.
What's going on over on your end?
Oh, the tunnel's collapsing. The thing was wrapped around a center pillar. Looks like I'm not making it out of here, buddy.
We can get you out.
My parents always said cops were useless when it mattered.
You can't just sit there!
The officer was yelling into the phone, not caring about any unnecessary attention.
You have to move!
The officer just realized he was standing, and he could care less.
Of course I can. Dude, I'm tired. I've been through enough.
You think that's the reason?
Why the hell does it matter? I'll never forget what I've seen today.
That's why you need to live!
My men. Good men. Piles of skin and bone. That goddamned horror.
Do you want it to win?
Ah, God damn it, don't say that. I know what you're trying to do. Let me die in peace already as a hero.
You're letting it win!
Oh, screw you, man.
Are you giving up?
Ah, damn it.
He heard the exaggerated grunt from over the other end of the line. For a second, he heard nothing but silence.
Fine. One more shot. Just don't give me any shit if I die.
The line cut off. The officer hung up the phone and ripped the cell phone out of the intern's hands, much to his dismay.
Go for it.
The officer hung up, feeling a hand on his shoulder. It was the captain.
You heard the orders from City Hall.
Permission to speak.
Granted.
The officer slammed his fist into the captain's face, watching him crumple to the ground. Looking up, holding his face.
Fuck you. I'm in command of this operation.
There was no way out. Everywhere the foreman ran, every inch was closed off. He dodged another falling piece of debris.
Fuck. Wait.
He looked down and saw the iridescent blood, cooling and leading down. Where the mess of the body is draining.
Water always drains somewhere.
The alien's body was smoldering, bloody, viscous mess. That's where the blood was draining. Only one thing to do, he thought. Run. The ceiling started to drop more and more fragments of brick, mortar, and limestone, barely missing him a few times.
This is so stupid.
The cigarette dropped from his mouth as he saw something beyond the wreckage. There was a grate.
No way.
The foreman ripped and ripped until the grate moved, slick with the creature's blood. As he leapt down the hole, he saw the ceiling crush the path above him as he hit a river, what felt like a river. It took every inch of energy to stay above the surface. The ceiling kept coming down, pushing the current faster and faster. His head bobbed under, over and over. Gasping for air, flailing his arms, sucked under by the darkness. He almost gave up, feeling that deep burning in his arms, like he couldn't move them anymore. The words kept coming back, tormenting him.
Gonna give up? Gonna give up?
Then he saw it, a light. How long has it been since he saw light? Reaching out, swimming, he saw it, a cylinder. The tunnel collapsed just as he shot headfirst towards the ocean. Rolling and crashing, he opened his eyes as he broke the surface. He was on the other side of the George Washington Bridge.
Of course, I ended up in New Jersey.
The foreman swam to a small beach by someone's house. He heard screaming, but none of that mattered. He fell onto his knees. Dirt never felt so comfortable before. The phone call came in from New Jersey that an unnamed construction foreman was initially charged with trespassing, soon rushed to the closest hospital, St. Jude's. The news didn't cover this incident. The foreman would only talk to one officer in particular. Once a sergeant, now a lieutenant, led the search and rescue operation that resulted in a scandal. He was offered a promotion, namely to keep his mouth shut. The officer entered a small white hospital room with a bouquet of flowers.
Greg.
The officer knocked on the door, looking at a bandaged man, staring out the window. He spoke before turning his head.
Yeah, you're that officer, aren't you?
He sat up and saw the flowers and hung his head.
Now, I know I've got a lovely voice, but don't go proposing to me now. Add those to the collection.
Instead, the officer shut the door and threw the bouquet into the trash receptacle. Not before pulling out 2 tall beers. He saw the foreman grin.
Now that is what I'm talking about.
Apparently, you can't bring patients beer.
They sat and watched the news coverage for the mysterious sinkhole that took out a block and the lives of his crew.
Bullshit.
The officer turned the television off. He looked up at him curiously.
What happened down there?
You know, something's out of state buried.
Guess so.
Hey, why don't we put on the game?
The foreman turned the television back on.
You know, after what I've seen, maybe the Yankees got a chance after all.
Radio Communication Part 2 was written and directed by Justin Morton. Produced by Sasha Bloor. Edited by E.S. Henry, Justin Morton, and Sasha Bloor. With sound effects from Epidemic Sound. Theme by Ryan Smolik and Lucas Dorsey. Voiced by Sasha Bloor. Starring E.S. Henry, Chris Dattley, EVH, Sasha Bloor, Megan Taylor, and narrated by yours truly, Matt Raftus.